guys, welcome back to my channel. I found something called the cake book tag and it looked really fun and it allowed me to talk about a lot of my favorites. I actually pulled, except for one, I actually pulled all of these books from my favorites shelf in our living room, so that's exciting. But yeah, I will leave where I got this tag from in the description down below. And let's just jump in. So it's just basically talking about different kinds of cakes and books to pick to pair with that cake. So for question number 1, for chocolate cake, they want you to pick a dark book that you absolutely love. And I had a hard time with this because I don't know that I read really dark books, especially end up loving it. So yeah, I was a little unsure where to go with this one. So I did end up going with The Girl from the Other Side. This is volume 5. I don't have the first 4 volumes. I still need to get those. So this is a manga. So you read it back to front. And it is just in this black and white sketchy style. It's very dark, like visually, like there's a lot of black in it. Well, okay, maybe not there. Because the premise of this entire story is, I forget how it starts. Like, I think I'm in like volume 11 already, so I really forget the beginning. I need to start from the beginning again. Okay, so in this world there are these beast-like creatures, and if you touch them as a human, you will become one of them. And this particular creature, he still somehow has the ability to think like a human. He comes across this little girl who's not been touched. He has almost like a paternal feeling toward her, and so he wants to protect her, but he can't touch her. So they have this really unique bond, and she's like one of the last humans left who hasn't been touched. So yeah, bad people are after her. He's trying to protect her. It's very hard to do when you can't touch the person. Plus also you have this loving relationship, also hard to grow when you can't touch the person. Yeah, it's a really interesting story that deals with like dark and light. It's not Christian, so it doesn't have that undertone to it, but I really like this, and that is saying something because I don't like the anime art style, so I typically don't read a lot of manga because of that, because most of it is in that art style, and this is a version of that art style, which I still, it's not my favorite, but for some reason the story just grabbed me, so yeah, I would recommend this one. Question number 2, a vanilla cake, a light read. So for this one, I'm going with The Fairest Beauty by Melanie Dickerson. I would recommend really any Melanie Dickerson for this prompt because she does Christian fairy tale retellings, and they're just so sweet and they're easy to read. They're fun and light. I mean, they're just really sweet. That's all I can say. I just really like them. So highly recommend any Melanie Dickerson. Once again, I'm in the bird space, so they're gonna beak at me until I leave. Question number 3, Red Velvet, a book that gave you mixed emotions. So I'm gonna go with this one. It has now established itself in my favorites list, but when I first read it, I was so confused. I was confused but intrigued, very much so, for most of this book. This is sci-fi murder mystery, so we, the reader, are following the perspective of one character who lives this same day, which ends in a murder. We don't know whose murder. We live this same day from front to back in the body of several different people. So it's this big mansion party. It's the day of the party. The first time we go through, it seems fairly normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. I can't explain this to you. Anyway, I think I've read this now 2 or 3 times, and the reason why I've selected this one, I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope you guys can still hear me, but I selected this book because the ending, um, I hated the ending when I first read it. I just hated it. And it's still not my favorite ending, but I am wrapping my brain around it a little bit more every time I read it. So it is the very mixed emotions, but it has established itself in my favorites, for sure. Oh man, okay, I don't know what the neighbors are doing, but hopefully it'll be quiet for long enough for me to finish this video. Okay, so cake number 4 is Cheesecake. A book that you would recommend to anyone. This one is always hard because people have different tastes. People come from different perspectives, points of view, life experiences, faith backgrounds. It's really hard to pick something that would be, I mean, the Bible, obviously. Everyone should read the Bible. That's a given, I feel like. So I was trying to find something else. So I found the 5 love languages because I feel like people, so much for that. Whew. So I guess I have to finish up in the house, but still windows and the neighbors right there, so it might still come through, but it should be better. Anyway, what I was saying was I feel like the 5 love languages could work really good because it is a Christian perspective, so I feel like there's that nugget of truth backing all of this stuff up, but also it's about how us as humans are created and how we are designed to receive and give love, and some of us will feel loved by different things than other people, and sometimes when you feel like you're loving on someone, they maybe haven't felt it because that's not their love language. So it can make relationships very tricky because in like that kind of a scenario, you feel like you have done the loving, but they don't feel loved, so you're like super confused. You're like, I'm loving you, but they don't feel it because that's not their love language. So to understand their love language, then you can love them in that way, in a way that they would actually feel loved. Does that make sense? So I think this is really beneficial for all kinds of human relationships. So I will go with that one. Cake number 5 is a coffee cake. A book that you started but never finished. This is the one that isn't on my favorite shelf because I haven't finished it. The Breaking Point by Karen Ball. This is the longest unfinished book because I haven't DNF'd it. I just haven't finished it. I have probably started this book, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I don't know. I have tried it. I've restarted it a couple of times, and there's really no reason other than it is a contemporary, so at this point in my life I am kind of like not interested in this genre, but because I have started it, I would like to see it through, to see just like what this couple goes through and how it ends, I guess. So this is, yeah, about a married couple. They are really on the rocks, and this is basically their last attempt at rekindling any kind of relationship between them. They are going to go on a little like retreat, just the 2 of them. However, they get caught in a blizzard on the way there, I think. And yeah, their car is stuck in snow and they have to figure out a way to survive. So it is a Christian fiction, so yeah, I just gotta read it. But I think at this point it is still the tail end of summer, so I think I would just wait till winter anyway to finish it, because if I'm going to be reading about snow, you know, don't really want to do that in summer. Next question. Carrot Cake. Ooh, I love Carrot Cake. A book with great writing. Okay, this one was also tricky because I don't feel like I'm a good reader for a question like this. I don't feel like I analyze an author's writing. The only exception would be like in the tense that it's written, past tense, present tense, or first person, second person, third person, all those different kinds of things. I do notice that immediately. and I do have strong feelings about all of those. But the reason why I'm going to go with this book, A Curse the Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. I've read this entire trilogy. I've never read anything else by Bridget Kemmerer, so I can't really say. And the only reason why I am choosing this one is because this is written in first person, which, as you guys know, I cannot read. It's not that I don't enjoy first person storytelling, it's that I can't read it with my eyes. For some reason, it just doesn't compute properly. There's like a misfire somewhere. So any first person books I read, it has to be audiobook, and I do have like Fox. This one, there are many first person books on my favorite shelf, but I have listened to the audio. So it's not that I don't love the storytelling, it's just I can't read it. Does that make sense? Probably not. Anyway, this book is written in first person, and the reason why I've selected it is because me and Oshina buddy read this trilogy a couple of years ago, and it was such a fun time, and it was like the first time that I properly buddy read a book with somebody, and she was just a joy to buddy read with. And this book is in first person, and I read it with my eyes, and I read it at a decent pace. So that is the reason why I have selected this one, because it took me somewhere where I couldn't go normally reading first person. And so for that reason, I don't know, was it the storytelling? Was it the story idea itself that was intriguing enough for me to be able to like somehow connect the misfire? I don't know. But yeah, this is on my favorite shelf. I do really like this trilogy, and thank you, Oshina, for buddy reading it with me. That is a memory I will have forever. Question number 7, Tiramisu, a book that left you wanting more. Okay, I have selected Mark of the Raven. I love this trilogy so much, so much. This is Christian fantasy. I absolutely recommend it highly. Go read it right now. If you haven't read it yet, like, go read it. If you like fantasy, if you like Christian content, just buy it. It's so good. So this is by Morgan L. Bussey. This is the first series that I ever read from her, and boy, was it a knock out of the park, because this was incredible. I will say this one left me wanting more, because I remember taking this out from the library. I'd never really heard much about it, so I went into it kind of blind, I guess, and I started it, and it was really, really good. And I, like, halfway through, I was like, I'm gonna need the second book. So I got the second book from the library. Once I finished this one, jumped into the second one. It's also on my shelf. And flew through it. But unfortunately, at that time, the third one hadn't come out yet. So I had to wait, like, I don't know, like 7 months or 8 months until the third one came out. But that was the first book I ever pre-ordered, was Morgan L. Bussey's third book in the Ravenwood Saga trilogy. So good, so freaking good, guys. Go read it. Question number 8, CUPCAKES. I like this. A series with 4 or more books. And I'm gonna go with the Bright Empire series by Stephen Lawhead. I love this science fiction, Christian science fiction, adventure story, time travel. It's so good. I really need to reread it. And this series has 5 books in the entirety of the series, and they're all really good. I have different thoughts about each one, but overall love this entire series so much. Question number 9, Fruitcake, a book that wasn't what you anticipated. Okay, I have talked about this one before, and that is Senlin Ascends. This one, there are lots of books on my favorite shelf that I didn't really have any expectations going in, and then loved it. But this one, for some reason, when I had heard about it, I thought I was going to DNF it and not like it and have very critical perspective on it. And I loved it. I loved it. Like, what? When does that ever happen? Like, yeah, with the other scenario where you like have really no expectations and then you love it, that happens. But when you have like, I'm not gonna like this one, Love it. That doesn't happen very often, so I was very pleasantly surprised by Senlin Ascends. I have read all 3 so far that are out. There is a 4th one coming out. Haven't read that one yet because obviously it's not out yet. But this is definitely, which I feel like happens a lot, the first book is the strongest. This is the case for this series as well. Again, haven't read the last one, but yeah, so Senlin Ascends. This is just the giant tower, like giant, like there's almost like different environments on each level as you get up, and once you make it to the level above, it's near impossible to get back to the lower level. So anyway, it's kind of like you have to plan this trip. You know, like if you're planning a really big holiday or something, like you plan months in advance, maybe years in advance. That's something like this is in this world. If you want to go to the tower, like that's a big trip. So, yeah, you have to like pay to get in. The first level is like all the touristy kind of things, like shops and stuff. And in this book, Senlin and his brand new wife are on their honeymoon at the tower. And they're shopping around the touristy booths, and he turns around for like a few minutes, comes back, his wife is missing. Now he has to find his wife. So his journey up the tower to find his wife. And each level is really weird, in different ways, and he meets different people, and yeah, it's really interesting. Like you can get stuck in the tower for years, but that's how. It's really cool. It's really cool. And now I want to tag some people. I'm going to tag Dia at Novel Idea, Tiffany at Beautiful Minutia, Bailey at Bailey's Bookshelf, and Oshina at Oshina Gotta Read 'Em All. And of course any of the other booktubers out there whom I love, go ahead and do this too. I would like to see your guys' answers to these questions. And if you don't have a booktube channel, I would like to hear your answers in the comments below for some of these cake questions. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for being here with me. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!